This is a Shepard. This is a Shepard tone. And this is a Shepard tone on your Axe effects. So that's pretty cool. So I saw an article a while back when the movie Dunkirk came out about Shepard tones and how Christopher Nolan has used them in his movies along with Hans Zimmer. And that Shepard tone gives you this, in this case, a rising pitch that never quite gets to the destination. It sounds like it's always going up, which gives you sort of an unsettled feeling. So I was reading how a certain one was done. In this case, this is called a Shepard Risset-Glissando, and it sounds like a never-ending rising pitch. You need at least 3 voices to do that, and your Axe effects and AX8 have 3 voices, so it's perfect. So here is the finished product of the Interstellar patch as I bring it up with the volume pedal. And you can hear it go in there, and it just is running constantly in the background, always running through the cycle. Okay, I've started off with an empty grid shunted across. I'm going to add a synth block because we know we need that. I'm going to add a volume block so I can control the volume coming out and attach that to my volume pedal. There we go. So to create this Shepard tone, we need 3 voices going. The first voice, which takes a target pitch that I'm running up an octave at constant volume, and when it gets to the top of the octave, it bounces back to the start and goes up again. There's a second voice that starts at the top octave and goes up another octave. And as it goes up, it starts at 100% volume and then gradually fades out as it gets to the top. There's a third voice that goes underneath the first one, starting an octave below, and reaches the target pitch. And it starts at no volume, and as it increases volume as it goes up until it's full volume once it reaches the target pitch. So that's what gives you the main effect of this never-ending climbing of pitches. So to do that, before I even start with the synth block manipulation, I'm going to look at the controllers, because what's going to guide the synth and how it moves and how quickly it moves is going to be the controller. So I've got a tempo here of 120. I'm going to just lock my LFO tempo into a tempo here and set it at 4 beats. As far as the type is important, and I'm going to do that as saw up, because I'm going to be tracking the pitch and the volume, and so I want there to be just a diagonal run up from 0 up to the top. So your sawtooth up will give you that. So now I'll bounce over to the synth block, and we'll be using that controller in quite a few places. So we'll start with the first voice. The first voice is going to be the main voice you hear. That's the constant volume pitch going from the target frequency up an octave. I am using the sawtooth voice with no tracking, so it's going to run automatically as it goes up. I've got to attach the frequency, so we want the frequency to go up from a target pitch up an octave. So we want to attach the frequency to that LFO controller that we just were manipulating. And I want to set the minimum. I'm starting at 220 hertz. Could be anything, but I'm going with 220. And I'm going to go up an octave, which is twice that value, which is up to 440. So you can see the controller running up from the beginning of the octave to the top. So that's all I need to set there. So now that's my frequency going up. I don't need to adjust the volume because I want that to stay at 100% the whole way through. So if we take a listen into what we have now, we should hear the synth block with a sawtooth wave type. So you can hear it going up to the top of the octave and then starting back over. Okay, so that's the first voice. Voice number 2 is going to be the voice that starts at the top of that octave and goes up another octave, but is trailing off in volume as it goes up. So I'm going to also set that as a sawtooth because that's what seemed to sound the best. Now I'm going to attach a controller to the frequency. And, it'll be the same LFO1 again that we used before in the first voice. Now on the first voice we went from 220 to 440. So on this one we're going to start it at 440. And bring it up an octave, which would be double that, which would be 880. Okay, so that's 880 or pretty close. So that's voice 2 frequency going up that octave. Now I need that pitch to tail off as we go up. So now I need the volume to start out at full volume and then fade out to nothing by the time it reaches that second octave. So I'm going to attach the LFO, same one we used before, to the volume of that voice. Only I want it to start at 100 and end at 0. So now, let me see, I'll turn off the first voice and we'll just listen to the second voice so we can see what that's doing. So it's starting the octave up and then fading out as it goes up. If we bring the two in together, we can start to hear a little bit of it. Turn those off for a moment. Now our third voice is going to start out an octave lower and then raise up to that target pitch. And with it, we want to start off at 0 volume and go up to 100% volume. So for the third voice, we also want to attach that modifier to the frequency. So same modifier we did before. Since we want to start an octave lower, that's going to be half of our 220 starting, so that's 110, and it'll end up at our target pitch of 220. That's attached and running from 110 to 220. Now we also want to attach that same modifier to the volume, similar to we did in voice 2. Only this time we want it to go from 0 to 100%, just like it's set up here out of the box. So if we bring this voice up, you're going to hear it an octave lower, coming in from nothing and going up to full volume. And with all three together, if we bring them all in, you can start to hear a little bit of it. Okay, so hearing that, you're thinking that's interesting, but it's not quite what we heard at the beginning. So what else do we need? The thing that really sells it is throwing on the great reverb block. And in particular, this is a great opportunity to use the the Deep Space preset. Huge reverb. So since we don't have much going on, we'll jack that quality up to high. Set it for something large, like say 10 seconds. And as far as the mix, we're going to go for a full 100%. So all we're hearing is the reverb sound. So we're not hearing any of that direct synth sound. It's all just the reverb sound. So let's see what that did to our tone. So that's what we're looking for right there. So that reverb really helps to mask out some of the reset of the voices as they cycle back through the octaves, and just makes it sound really cool with that the great reverb that's in the Axe effects and the AX8. So that's it. That's a Fractal tone tutorial with no guitar. Pretty cool. Speaks to the great platform that you have with the AX8 and the Axe effects. So what can you do with a tone like this? Well, one thing would be you can use it to start your band's show. Always fun to drop some sound effects in there, turn people's heads. So let me know what you guys are doing with this. You can play with the controllers, so if you want to shift the voice down, do different things with it. Some things it'll stop becoming a Shepard tone, but you can get some neat sounds out of it nonetheless. Okay, thanks so much for watching. I hope to do more of these. I put my forum information down below if you want to talk about the patches. You can find me online on the Fractal forum. I also put links to the patches up on the Axechange below, so you can download them and try them out for yourself. You can subscribe to my channel if you want to get notice when we do another one of these. Thanks for watching again, and see you next time.